We demand brilliance from our AI agents, but what about the experience for their creators? The truth is, building powerful, reliable AI agents can be a mess of complex tooling, steep learning curves, and frustrating roadblocks. Friction is the enemy of innovation. So, how do we tear down these barriers? What does a world class developer experience for AI agents look like? Today, we're exploring the crucial, yet often overlooked world of the developer experience for AI agents, essential knowledge for anyone building, designing, or dreaming of the next generation of AI. Welcome to episode 41 of Tool Use, the weekly conversation about AI tools and strategies to empower forward-thinking minds, brought to you by Enetic. I'm Mike Bird, and this week we're joined by Ahmad Awais, the founder and CEO of Langbase, a serverless platform for building AI agents. Ahmad, welcome to Tool Use.
Thank you for having me here, Mike. Super excited to talk about agents.
Oh, it's always a blast. Would you mind giving the audience a little background, how you got into AI and what got you here today?
Yeah, of course. I think I've been around the block for 25 years now, building one thing after another. And I remember back in the day, I started contributing with the WordVac group, where we were building Web 2.0, which is now known as HTML5, right? And that led me to a career in open source. Like I ended up contributing a lot to the core software of WordPress, then a lot of JavaScript libraries, then the core of Node.js. There was a time when I was leading the community committee's outreach program for Node.js, right? Got deeply involved with Open API Enterprise Governance Board and got on a Google Developers Advisory Board. I'm practically very, very technical. I've built a lot of software. I have I think created about, I must say, more than 150 open source packages, and they get 40, 50 million downloads every year. And I have one of the top 10 VS Code themes called Shades of Purple. I love the purple color, and so is the name of the theme, right? And over the years, I have done a lot of open source advocacy. I remember about, I think, 11 years ago, I got Facebook to open source React and GraphQL, right? That was when my career absolutely changed. I saw firsthand how React became the other half of the internet, is how I call it. Half of the internet is WordPress and half of the internet is React, right? So I generally tend to joke about it. There's no website you cannot visit without my small little, piece of tiny contribution that I might have made, right? I take pride in that, right? And I remember because I became this developer advocate of sorts, I ended up doing a lot of talks, right? People wanted to understand, especially, tool use, right? Understand how I'm using these tools, what I care about as a developer, why this, why that, to a point where when I switched from Sublime to VS Code in 2017, when VS Code was a new editor, right? Everybody was like, how are you doing this? What is this thing? What is that, right? To a point where I ended up building a course called VS Code.pro. I think I've helped probably more than 56,000 developers switch to VS Code over the years, right? So, and about Langbase, I'm now building Langbase, right? So Langbase is a serverless AI platform. So anything you want to do with agents, from building an agent to deploying it and scaling it, that is what we do. And we are contrary to the normal wisdom that people talk about, well, everybody's building an AI framework. I don't think you can build an AI framework in this space. I think the space is moving too fast, and things are breaking too quickly. I think what we need are primitives, good primitives. For example, AWS has S3, a primitive where you can upload your images and download them. You don't really care how they are doing the scaling and charting behind the scene. You just get a simple API, and that API just works. It's similar to how OpenAI, your developers' experience with OpenAI is you get an API for their models and it just works, right? You don't really get to see or have to worry about how they are scaling their models, right? So at Langbase, we are building AI primitives, a primitive for agent workflows, a primitive for building an agent called Pipe, a primitive for agents with memory, like human-like long-term memory, which have vector stores in them. A primitive for threads, so you can easily store coordinated database solve the problem of coordinated database with threads. All the tool calls and tool results should be coordinated in the same order and as fast as possible. Then parser, chunker, embedded, you name it, right? We have a bunch of primitives, right? And how all of this happened was in 2020, I was traveling a lot. I had like, I don't know, 43 conferences. That was going to be the year where I was, I absolutely hate traveling. I'm not adventurous at all. Like programming was my hobby. I'm practically boring. This is all I do, you know. Uh, but in 2020, I decided, okay, let's change things a bit, right? And well, you know what happened? COVID happened, right? All my plans to travel got deprecated. I remember one of the conferences I was going to share stage with Obama as one of the keynote speakers. I was super excited about it, and then I got to do it on Hopin online platform, and it was so bad he didn't even show up. Right? Anyway, I found myself building this thing called Corona CLI, and Corona CLI was what Perplexity is, but only for COVID data and in 2020, right? So you could ask it dumb questions like, if I go to Italy, will I die? Or if I go to, I don't know, like pick up TP from Costco on 4th Street, what happens, right? And it went absolutely viral. I was just building it because I was traveling a lot, and it went viral when COVID became a global pandemic, right? And I mean viral, like no puns intended, like 10 billion API calls in a month or so, right? Uh,
Nice.
and that got me an introduction to Sam Altman and Greg Brockman. And this is 2020. Like OpenAI is not a big deal in 2020. Nobody knows about OpenAI. You know, I didn't know about much about OpenAI. They gave me access to GPT-3. They had just finished training of GPT-3 in, I think, June 2020, and I was talking to them in July 2020, right? And I remember talking to Greg Brockman and telling him, like, I want to suggest the next line of code, right? And this is like a year before GitHub Copilot was launched. GitHub Copilot was launched, I think, in October 2021, right? So I was already excited about like this use case of like suggesting something new. And I did a couple of workshops on OpenAI and a bunch of things. Basically, I built a couple of software that eventually became Lang-based, right? A playground of sorts, and easy to build, an easy infrastructure to build your agents without having any machine learning knowledge, right? If you have machine learning knowledge, that's good. I think a lot of startups are building for different machine learning engineers. I just saw a big gap. Like, what about people who wear shorts, who don't go to peer reviewed conferences, and who will never pick up a research paper and read it, who would never understand this complex problem? How do we fix that for, and how do we enable everybody to build agents? Like, how do we make it, how do we make a way that is the best way to build an agent, right? I think now everybody's after that, right? I ended up coining a term called pipe was the first standard for multi-agent protocol of sorts, right? Prompt instruction personalization engine. Now and this was like in 2022, late 2022, in late 2023 is when it kind of got some heat around it, right? Some community being building around it. Now we have so many things. Now we have A2A. Now we have MCP, and I also read about something called Agent C, something like that, right? Like everybody has a standard now, right? So not having a standard is more cool now. So, but yeah, that's me. We have just launched Chai, Computer Human AI, that is a computer coding agent that has access to a lot of computers, and it lets you vibe code any AI agent. So it's an agent that can build agents for you. And these agents are not ephemeral. They survive the test of the time. You can throw in like terabytes of data. They can have memory, all of that fun stuff, right? So yeah, excited to chat about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't mind just diving into Chai right away. I saw the announcement. It's caught fire on Twitter. Could you just walk me through what type of person it's targeted for? What the process is? If I go on and give it a use case and it spits out some code, is it hosted there? Could you just walk me through the whole process there?
Just a little bit of a history, right? So Langbase is a serverless coding platform, right, for AI agents. We started with pipes, and pipes again were prompts, instruction, personalization engine. Think of it as a new compute primitive. Uh, think of it like AWS Lambda, but for agents. If you had a building block that you would build on top of, and it will become an agent, that was pipe, right? And what it allowed people to do was, connect like 600 different LLMs over a unified API, which looks similar to OpenAI, and connect your data like for RAG or whatever, and build a workflow, an agent that becomes an agent for you, right? So personalization layer was the data layer behind the scene, right? And then we built a studio around it, right? So I think I started building this thing. This was not a startup back then. I started building this in 2020, right? So this was like the only playground of sorts for OpenAI back in the day, right? And how it worked, and it still works that way, is like, you can version this. This is, you should feel very familiar vibe of this with GitHub or something. Like you can fork it, you can get the code for this or whatnot, right? And in here, you can build an agent either by using this studio or by using code, right? Both of these things work, right? The next thing we did was we created memory. So memory agents are really near and dear to my heart, where you upload your data, and these agents have the ability to figure out everything that is required with their data. It will parse your PDFs, it will chunk it the right way. You have control on each of these steps, but you don't need to know all of it if you are just using it, right? And then you can just ask it questions. And let me like give you a demo of what that looks like. I actually happen to have an explainer here. Let me find if that generally really helps when I'm explaining. There you go. So right now, I've created an agent. I want to prove that this is quite agentic. And what this one is doing is I'm asking it to ignore its pre-training so it doesn't hallucinate, right? And I've picked ChatGPT 4.0 model. Like, yeah, you have access to like 600 plus models here, all on the same API. And I'm asking so many questions. The most fun question is, how tall is the founder of Langbase, right? So as a human, it's very easy to understand that I'm asking for the height of the founder of Langbase, right? We have attention by default built in. LLMs are actually built on top of this idea of self-attention. They can do this kind of thing. They can figure out the combination and relationship between different things, right? But if you just run it in one go, it will definitely going to hallucinate. So this is not my name, and it's definitely not sure how tall I am, right? So let's do this thing. Let's give it access to all of our product documentation and some of my health data, right? So what I've done is I've connected two memory agents to this pipe agent. These are agents. They both have data in them. They have vector stores in them, right? This is how a memory agent works, right? In the Lang-based memory agent, we have all of our product docs, so they know I'm the founder. And in my health docs, it probably says how tall I am, right? Now, if I run this, you will see that it will automatically reason over these two memory agents and figure out answers to all of these questions, right? This is called agentic RAG. This is not simple RAG. It's retrieval, but it is agentic, and I will tell you why. So it knows I'm the founder and I'm 185 centimeter tall, right? So here's what's happening. When I ask how tall is the founder, this should not work with our Lang-based agent, memory agent, because it does not have my height data in it. It knows who is the founder though, right? So again, on a similarity search, if I asked this memory agent, MLS, how tall is the founder, this one doesn't know I'm a founder. So it should also fail or hallucinate. But overall, as a human, we have attention. We can kind of connect the relationship between two. So this is what our agentic reasoning architecture does behind the scene. It basically rewrites this question using the context to how tall is Ahmad Awais. And then it basically very easily finds the answer here. Right? There's a lot going on behind the scene. But for you, you're simply sending the user messages to an API, right? API is just doing a lot for you, right? And you have control over every single step here, like how this reasoning happens. You control all of it, right? And I can change this to, I don't know, let's try with something like Gemini. Yeah, let's go with Gemini 2. Oh, for some reason, I don't have Gemini API keys, but I was just running it. I'll probably add it later on. I was probably running it here. I can show you right here. This is GPT-4. There's not a single demo that won't break live, right? Right. So I was just running it here somewhere, I think. Where are you? Oh, there you go. Right. So this was a preview run on Gemini 2.0 Flash. and this was a run on ChatGPT 4.0, right? The completion was again 185 centimeter tall, and again the completion was 185 centimeter tall, right? So I had just changed the model on this one, but look at the difference. If you run it a million times, this is like $22,000 versus $400 for the same answers, right? So this happens without you having to do anything. You can just switch a model from one thing to another, and it just works, right? And we talked quite deeply about this on State of AI Agents research that we did. We understood about 200 billion tokens here, and we figured out a lot. We created distillations for each provider for almost all of their models uh, to figure out how to help you. It's like, Mike, when you became a founder, there are like 10 different questions people mostly ask you. And your brain kind of keeps a warm memory of that. Like, oh, yeah, this is what I do. This is the name of the company. This, right? This is what our agentic architecture can do for reasoning, right? Okay, now let's take a step back from this. And we also try to help people a lot in figuring out how to build all of this themselves. Like we created tools and infrastructures. We that would actually help. We created an explore tab, so you can see like I think about 20,000 agents here that people are publishing that are open source. You can see Resume GPT or whatever. Right? You can explore these. Like here's a decision maker. You can probably go in there and figure out what they are trying to do with this or whatnot. You can fork it or whatnot. Right? And then we also published our agentic architectures piece. These are 8 different agent architectures that cover most of the agents that you want to build. Like this is my favorite, orchestrator worker, where when based on an input, this agent can spin up like 200 different agents to solve that problem on the go, right? Like you don't need a framework for this. You can see this is like 90 lines of code. There's no framework, plain TypeScript or JavaScript or Python. It's just basic API calls, right? There's nothing you would need to learn here, except for our API, which is again, any API looks like this, right? And by doing this, we have done a lot, right? So we've created so many examples, how to use memory, threads, this and that. But there was still something missing, right? It was still very technical. And our goal was like, be the best way to build an agent, right? How do you make it so simple without you actually losing control? Right? I don't want to make it like a drag and drop Dreamweaver where you're dragging and dropping and connecting like something like Zapier. I have nothing against it. It's just as a programmer, once you have felt the control that code gives you, you can never move away from it. You know the the dynamic nature of code and how it helps, right? So internally, for last 4.5 years, I have been building a coding agent, and that was just for me, right? When Greg gave me access, I started building an agent. I don't use Cursor or any other coding agents because my coding agent is really good. It's like really trained on my ideas over the course of last 5 years. Uh, and that agent started doing something weird last year. It started solving our roadmap without like any supervision, and I was like, holy shit, what is happening? What we figured out was, because we created so many things in such a good infrastructure behind the scene, our coding agent was able to use our infrastructure to create more agents. You cannot do that with ChatGPT. Like you can go ask ChatGPT to build you a Perplexity, it will not do that, right? But when we asked our agent, the internal agent, to build a Perplexity, it started building a very mini version of Perplexity. We were like blown away, like, holy shit, this is amazing. And we started using it for all silly things, like, in a POC, when you were telling us, I'm going to build this and this type of agent, we would show you, like, oh, we already have something like this. Can you? And people would say, wow, like, we never thought that it could become a product, right? And that is what we launched as Chai. So Chai, we put human between a computer and AI. We've created an auto-scalable Kubernetes-based infrastructure where we can scale to thousands of machines to solve a problem. Right now, Chai is not a general purpose agent. It is built for just one purpose, to build agents for you, right? No other agent right now can do that. Like, I am very well connected. I have not seen any agent having agentic capabilities to a point where it can build agents for you. And those agents are also agentic, right? It's like a same loop, right? So this is what we have launched. I'm a huge chai drinker, right? So it's just a. I was looking for a word that had AI in it in some fun. So chai, prompt, sip and ship, right? What it can do is you can just ask it to build an agent. Like for example, I don't know, make me an email agent. Oh, there you go. Yeah, logged me out, right? So yeah, it's a beta product, and we are figuring out a lot here. But let's go with something like what we were thinking. I'm gonna ask it to build me an agent, and imagine that I'm somebody who has never built an agent, who may or may not have programming knowledge. This thing, Chai, is going to both code that agent and build me the UI and the API for that agent, right? So that was the discovery. We were like, oh, what if, like, I don't, like, I have nothing against Lovable or V0 or anything, but I don't need to build like 100 websites. I know how to build a website. Yes, with Lovable or Bolt or all of that, it's fun to build a website, but to a point where, oh, what do I need a website for anymore? Like, maybe after a couple of websites. But dude, I need hundreds of agents for my stuff, right?
Yep.
And as somebody who's building a company, I still never got enough time to build a lot of agents. Like you have to code it. There's something to be said about no code. It tends to be fast, but then you lose control. You build something fun, and then you're like, oh, I can't do this. I want to do a for while loop here, right? But like, how do I pull that up? Like, right? So let's do that, right? So I've asked it to, and by the way, totally expect something to fail. Live demo, right? So I'm just asking it to build me an email agent. So Chai does only one thing right now. It builds you the agents, not the connections, nothing else, right? Right now the focus is just to build the agents, right? And what I've asked it to do is build me an agent that will read my email and it will perform several tasks in a sequence. It will analyze and summarize email, and it will figure out if this is an email that is not spam and if it needs a response, and maybe then write that response as well, right? So now it has started telling me what it is doing. Email processing agent. This is what I'm doing. The workflow it is building will simultaneously analyze. This is important. These are two separate tasks. I want them to happen in parallel. And then this should be a block gate where, we need to determine if a response is needed. Then we use that, all of the context to build that agent. Now, this is very easy to build. Like we have a bunch of guides on this as well. Like I think we call it a composable AI email agent architecture. Like when you get a spam email, basically, they basically figure out that this is a spam email. It doesn't do anything. If you get a valid email, like, your API is broken, the decision maker will create a response quickly and start writing that response. Like we've talked about this a lot in our docs, right? But what Chai is doing here is different. Chai has gone ahead and built something for me. I'm gonna go and deploy it. So while this is deploying, let's review what the code looks like. So in the code, it has created an agent. This part is analyzing the sentiment. I can explain it, improve it, whatever you want, right? So I can like just say, this part is not doing what I wanted, do this, right? That part is there. So this is the step one. And we've made sure that our workflow is extremely simple. There's a step, there's a ID, and then there's a run function where you just add whatever you want. And it's probably giving a response. It's already created the UI for it. By the way, it's just deployed it, right? But let's go back to the code. Step one, analyze sentiment. And it has created a schema. This is more advanced than I thought it would, like, sentiment or whatnot. Like as a programmer, I would not probably do this in one go. I would be like, I'll get to that point someday. And then it is feeding that to, it has decided to use GPT 4.1 mini. So we have trained a lot of things on different models, and we are continuing to do that. It can basically understand what the task is at hand and what would be the right model for that. And you can optimize that. You can ask, make the responses much better. So use a premium model, or maybe use something that I could use for free, like from Gemini or whatnot. And it also has the ability to create prompts. You can obviously improve these prompts, right? But this was the first agent. This is the second one. Summarize the email. This is the step where it is determining if the response is needed. It has also created a schema for that. If the response is needed, why is it needed? The reason, the priority, right? It's automatically doing this. You can completely change this. You can just say, add more labels here or whatnot. And then I think it is just simply generating a response if the response is needed. Right? There you go. Right? The step three. And by the way, you don't need to look at this this way. We also give you a flow, uh, which you can just see, this is what it's doing. It's going to process the email, sentiment, summary, determine if it is needed. If it is needed, this, if not, skip, log it, and be done, right? And you can regenerate it or whatnot. Soon we will also give you the traces. You can see how this is running, and if there is a memory required, the memory is also created. For this use case, memory is not required. So, here's what the agent UI looks like. Let's give it something like, I don't know, what was the email here? I can just probably write something. Your billing API is broken. This is not good, right? So now it is processing all of that workflow, right? It is figuring out if we need a response or whatnot. And this is just a silly UI, right? But I think what we have sort of ended up inventing is nobody was building UI for agents, especially not dynamic UIs. Like, what would a email agent's UI look like, right? So here's the summary. Here's the sentiment analysis. Sentiment is negative, urgency is high, and it has also gone ahead, told me the reason why it should be responding, and it has also drafted a response, right? Like, this is pretty powerful, right? I just created this thing, right? And I don't have to use this UI. I can just use it based on this API, right? With Node, Python call. I can just send in my email from whatever tool, and it will do exactly this, right? So it is an actual agentic workflow where multiple agents are doing multiple things, right? And for a lot of agents, what we have figured out is a simple UI is all you need, right? So I don't know, you won $100 million lottery. Sometimes it doesn't do the spam check really well, and I have to tell it, you're letting the spam pass through, right? Let's see, okay, summary. Urgency is high.
That's pretty positive.
Yeah, and there you go. Not responding to this one, right? It's probably a spam, right?
Yeah.
Right. So sometimes it doesn't do it. It starts responding, and then I have to come and tell it, I don't want you to do this, right? And then there's so many that I've created. I think you have a question.
Yeah, sorry, just to jump in. So this super impressive. Click of a button or basic prompt can generate all of this. I assume with the deploy button and whatnot, this can all be hosted on Langbase. So I can just kind of go in, create a little army of agents, and just by giving my prompt, it has all the infrastructure needs, the ability to expose the APIs, and then I can just kind of operate as I would anything else that's just cloud hosted and serverless.
Yeah, that's the point, right? So you don't have to worry about how to scale this. You can send it 100 million emails a day, and it will just process it very easily. We are generally doing 150 million agent runs a month at this stage, right? So all of this is deployed. Whatever we needed to work out for this deployment happened behind the scene. And also this UI is also deployed. I know it's beta. You don't see a URL right now, but the first thing we are launching this week is you should be able to share this agent with anyone, right? Source Graph actually uses Langbase to do this, AI bot in their docs, right? So somebody in our docs team, what they had an idea was, it's because it's always me saying something like this. I don't know, let's figure out some feature pages. Our feature pages are not great. So sorry, everybody in our docs team, right? So versioning, okay, versioning is good, right? So fork. Let's say I don't like this page. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this link and I'm going to go to Slack and I'm going to say, maybe this page should have more content, right? So what our docs team has done now is, let's go over here somewhere, right? So what they have done is, the moment I post something in Slack that, this URL, this page is not great, it should have more content here or whatnot. They think that this is a prompt. They throw this to Chai automatically. They have built a small docs bot. Chai actually builds all the agents needed to fix this. Because Chai has computers in it, it is connected to GitHub. It can download data from GitHub. It can figure out where the file for this link is. Our docs are on GitHub, right? And then it runs those agents and that feedback to fix that problem. And then it finally creates a PR. Now, this workflow is not new. Right? You get a PR and you have an improved doc. This workflow is not new. You could do this with anything. What's new is the next time I do this, they will not tag chai. They will have a very defined particular workflow that will work the way they want, right? It's like, when you do one thing with cursor, there's no guarantee that the same thing will happen next time. If you add an API endpoint and you're really happy with it, cursor has not learned anything. You just have prompted a lot. And when you're building something with chai, you're actually building real life agents that are there that you can continue to improve. Like, for example, I've built a very mini version of API route creator. We have a very different way of creating API routes internally. I couldn't teach that to cursor. Maybe I could, I add cursor rules or whatnot, which are just prompts. Agents are agentic, right? So now I have a API route creator agent through chai that works locally, by the way. It's not deployed anywhere. You can ask chai to create something. You can take this code and just use it locally, right? So that is still true. You can use it with Olama. We integrate with Olama, right? Maybe you don't like this UI, or you have some update in the UI. You can go here, ask some changes for UI. Right? One more thing that I really like is, like, I've been building so many. Like, I've not built that many agents myself, but right nowadays I've been like, I don't know, like, here's a perplexity one, right? So with perplexity, I think I did a one shot where I make a deep researcher like perplexity, and it basically tried, and I deployed it. But then when I ran it, I got this error, some schema or something. I didn't even read it. It's vibe coding anyway, right? So I asked it, like, fix this error, right? And in the second shot, I think it got it right. So this is what we have now. This is a deep researcher. I don't know, like, what did Open AI launch last month, which was April. I don't know if they launched anything. I don't know what it's gonna do. It's using Exa behind the scene. Exa is a internet scraping or search tool of sorts. There you go. In April 2024. Oh, there you go, 2024. Right? Like, it's obviously it's not perplexity, but it's working, right? And like, you can basically ask it, like, I don't know, what has, I don't know if this will work, on X lately, right? So this is, I don't know if Twitter allows you to scrap data, but I'm pretty sure it's their API is pretty down. But X is pretty good. It should probably bring something up. It's wait and watch. Oh, it's taking its sweet time. There you go. Okay, some of my tweets, PyScript. It's bringing up old data. I think what's happening here is Exa does not have access to the live X data. And it's just when Twitter was open and they allowed it to scrap, that is what it's bringing up. But it's pretty good architecture. Like, you can see how it is happening, how and what it is doing. And people have been building so many fun stuff. Like, for example, a simple thing as simple as, like, I don't know, chat with PDF, right? So it should probably just build a memory agent now, where I should be able to upload a PDF or any file and talk to it, right? So very common problem, right? While it is doing that, I can also probably show you a little bit. I'm probably gonna zoom in a little bit so we don't see their names. So there are usernames here. And by the way, in 5 to 6 days, 35,000 agents have been built with Chai.
Wow.
Let that sink in, right? People are building amazing stuff. Like, today is May 6th. Look at the timestamps here. Right? So almost every other minute there's like a agent being built by somebody, right? So PDF chat, Firefly summarizer, email responder, mail
Actually, what have been
sorter.
some of the most compelling agents that you've seen developed, whether with Chai or otherwise?
I don't know. It's like really up to you. Anything. People are building so many things. Like, I saw somebody from change.org create a petition agent, which scraps your change.org petition and helps you both write the content and talk to people in comments. I'm like, holy shit, right? Here you go, Forex trader, like all sorts of fun stuff. My biggest worry with Chai was that people were gonna go and use it like ChatGPT, and that would mess it up, right? Like, for example, I don't know, if you go to ChatGPT and you say, make me a deep researcher, like perplexity, it's probably, I don't know, let's go with the GPT-4 model. I don't know what it's gonna do. It's definitely not gonna build me an agent, right? So I thought,
The
yeah,
mindset.
yeah, like, yeah, I don't know what it is doing, right? So I thought people will start using Chai as ChatGPT or Claude or something, and that would totally not be cool.
Yeah.
But unbelievably, like 95% of people are like, look at this, like Nev Center Agent. This is just somebody doing, nutrition planner, Mindies. People are building all sorts of fun stuff. What they are doing is like task refiner. What it takes to build an agent is automated now, right?
Mhm.
You're, I've been asking people to not use frameworks because they slow you down. Use primitives. Now it doesn't even matter because something else is writing code for you. You have the complete control. This is not DSL, as you can see. Let me deploy it. Basically, went ahead. Like this is not DSL. This is not some weird configuration file that is super vendor locked into Langbase. It is an actual code written for you for the purpose of your agent that you're building, right? It's, like how would you build a generate answer agent? Like it has also created a really good, prompt for that purpose as well. So I've been having so much fun just, reading through what people are doing. NER data scout agent. I don't know what that is, right? A race engineer, fit plan or whatnot, lightning code expert. A lot of people are actually building coding agents. A lot of people
Mhm.
have ideas of, oh, Cursor never does this or Lovable never does this, does that, right? They don't feel like they have the control over improving the agent they are using. With Chai, you are actually building the agent that does what you want, and you have the control of improving that agent over time as your project grows, your requirements grow or whatnot. So like people are building all sorts of fun stuff here. Like I just like there are 54 pages of these. These are just workflows, right?
Thousands.
Yeah, and this is
Actually,
like
sorry, quick question on that.
yeah.
When someone makes their own coding agent, because there's so many options out there, and they want to make it best for them, what would you say are some good developer experience principles that people should follow or just be aware of so that the tooling that they build is going to be beneficial to them rather than just something that's flashy?
I don't know if do you know about Tailwind?
Slightly
Yeah,
familiar, but do you want to tell the audience?
yeah. So Tailwind is this framework that was created by two amazing designers and developers, Adam and Steve. And for someone as technical as me, who always wrote CSS from scratch, I had like this weird uh, thing about frameworks. Like, yeah, I can't use CSS frameworks. I'm a Bootstrap contributor, but I don't use Bootstrap. Right? Like, it's just felt very weird when talking about it that way, right? And for the longest of the times, I was like, I don't like Tailwind. And then it hit me one day that Tailwind is not a framework. It's actually an API, a primitive of sorts, which allows you a defined way of building CSS. And they have really pretty and really awesome, amazing docs that anybody can read because everybody who's writing CSS from scratch have their own ways. I had my own way, but you on my team, if I hired 10 more people, they didn't know my way. It took me time to teach them. So Tailwind built really good documentation, really good primitive that anybody could learn. And I could just hire somebody who knew Tailwind a little bit. They would create anything because it's not a framework. It's just an API and you can do anything with API, right? And there was this curve I had where I was like, I went from, I think like, I don't know, there was a no to Tailwind and this is pretty cool, right? Like my emotion went like this, right? This is the same thing that has happened with vibe coding, right? So vibe coding can both be helpful or very flashy and wrong, right? So what I see people do is like what they do is which is by the way what I'm doing here, right? So chat with PDF. This is the wrong way to vibe code, by the way, right? It's fun. Like for example, it has gone ahead created this PDF document memory. I'm gonna for the sake of this chat, I'm gonna upload something here. Let's upload this. This has some data on my this is the homepage of my personal website, right? And I'm probably gonna throw in another text file as well, which is the API keys portion of our docs, right? Just to ask these questions, and it's probably gonna go ahead and process this in a minute while we chat, right? Um, there you go. These are ready. Let's go to the UI and let's ask him, what is the name of Ahmad's company and how do we get API keys from that, right? Uh, Fingers crossed. I hope this works, right? So I just added two documents. One that knows who am I, so it should probably figure out that the name of the company is Langbase. There you go, and you basically go to the settings menu, and there's this, and there you go. I just asked chat with PDF, and this is what I got, right? I can use it through this UI. So you can use this as an API or UI. It really is up to you, right? So what a lot of people do is they get this weird wrong idea about vibe coding. So I think what vibe coding, so I'll take a step back. I think vibe coding is going to replace no code and low code, right?
Yeah.
Like we always had like no code, low code website builders. We had Dreamweaver, I don't know, like 1990 or something, right? You could drag and drop and build a website. But even then, Lovable and Bolt exist and they give you code. You don't need to use that code, but if you want to, or if you have someone who can help when you need it, can help, right? Like if you throw, your no code tool to a developer and they were like, oh, I can't help with that. They'll be like, I'm going to build you something. I'll charge you like $5,000 for that or whatnot. Or you can just ask like, this code is doing this. Can you just do this small implementation that I'm not able to figure out? That's super powerful, right? So for the longest of the time, I was like, vibe coding is weird. To a point where I figured out, oh, vibe coding is actually replacing no code and low code with actual code that you still have to not put in a lot of effort to build, right? That is super powerful, right? So I got over that hill where I'm like, okay, vibe coding is great, right? And this is coming from someone who's deeply technical, right? But what people get wrong is, let's say you want to get to, I don't know, 10, right? And what people try to do is they try to do 5 plus 5 or 6 plus 4 equal to 10 with prompt engineering or vibe coding. What actually generally works is 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus I don't know whatever the rest is to get to that result, right? You have to take it step by step. It's similar to let's say you hire an employee or let's say you're looking for a co-founder. You don't just throw all of the context at them. You don't just say, be my co-founder, and they'll be your co-founder, or be my employee and do all of the things that I expect. You have to slowly build that relationship, to slowly build the understanding of the feedback loop of where now build this, now do this, now do that, right? So like a human in the loop of sorts, right? That generally works really well. So what I often tell people is start with something simple, very simple. So you know it works. You get familiar with, oh, so agent TS is the agent TSX is the UI, which can host anywhere. It's a simple React code, right? It's conveniently hosted for you, but if you wanted to take this code and do whatever the fun thing you want to do with it, yeah, you be my guest, right? Then you slowly build this thing up into something. I don't want to name names because I don't have permissions from them, but there's this company that in last 5 days, I think they have created hundreds of agents, which in their CEO is doing, they're pushing the limits with Chai, and I'm like, I'm mostly looking at their chats. I'm like, oh, it can do that. I didn't know, right? Like I built this thing, but they were like, let people upload their logos, and from their logos, it's a swag company, by the way. Like they're very common name. Everybody uses them to build their, t-shirts or stuff like that. Uh, when you upload a logo, they are able to figure out through their inventory using an agent that they are continuously building with Chai, that what can they deliver, what colors, by when, and what is like possible. This is like an extremely complicated job. And I think that he's like, probably 30, 50 messages in one thread. So now we are thinking about like, oh, this is too much. We've just figured out like you cannot have as long chats on ChatGPT or Claude, but we created Chai for these agents not to be ephemeral. They are always going to be there, and you'll always try to improve them. But you cannot have like 10,000 messages here. So now we have this user experience issue where we're trying to figure out like, okay, maybe we create some sort of done with the last 10 versions, stash them away. Let's summarize the context and be here. We are calling it something weird internally, where we are very excited about that feature, right? So anybody can use it. It is just how you use it that matters. Mm-hmm. You could be less technical and you could have much better agentic ideas than I do, which is what is happening. I go look at this space and I'm like, oh, style guide extractor. Like people are building things that I didn't know we could build, with this. Okay, I think I am on page 1, which we just saw, but I should probably be zooming in. People are building all sorts of fun stuff here that I never like fortune spinner agent, right? So I don't know, Swift UI kit builder, French wedding maestro, right? Right?
Ooh.
Anybody can build anything, right? Uh, it's it's the fact that it gets you to in most of the cases 90-95% done, uh, and then you have still the complete control over uh, chatting and fixing its behavior, improving it, or starting fresh, or bringing in an actual expert, like somebody who's a developer on your team. Let's say you're a PM and you're building something. It's fun. It's working. You have bookmarked it in Slack, and now there's a bug you just cannot figure out. Right? Maybe you used to code like 10 years ago, and now you've not brushed up on your React skill. You just tease your front end guy a little bit or girl a little bit, and they can just say, "Oh, just fix this and be done." Right? That they cannot do with a no code tool, right?
Right.
So, yep. So, what do you think?
I think it's incredible. I did have one other question for the last remaining 5%. If
Mhm.
someone were to develop an agent, gets most of the way there, pull it into local ID, I remember you mentioned that you don't use Cursor, your VS Code, because you have your own coding agent. But what advice or tools have you seen in the AI age for development that you think are useful? Does MCP help with your dev experience, or are there any other tools that you think people should start exploring as they're trying to build to get these last few percentage points over the line?
Anything really that helps. Back in the day, so I'm here today because I started writing content. I started blogging when I was very young, I think late 90s. And all of my career is because I started writing one day. I remember uh, watching Cristiano Ronaldo 2001 FIFA, I think Euro World Cup, and I'm like, oh, this is awesome. I should write about it, right? So you should just use tools, right? No matter what. You don't know where what one tool would lead your thought to. I love reading source code. Like you can often find me like at 1 a.m. in the morning reading the core code of Express just because, right? I love to just read source code, as in just look at it. I think my brain picks up on weird things that later on I'm like, I don't know how I know this, but I know this, right? So MCP is like this, right? MCP, uh, every tool has pros and cons. Just having the knowledge, I think. Like so, here's my advice about that. Right, when I was young, when I went to college, I thought if I knew a lot of programming languages, I would do really well. So I studied like I don't know 26 different programming languages, and for the longest of time, that turned out to be the wrong choice. I ended up just getting really good at just a couple of languages like JavaScript, TypeScript, Node, C++, Python, right? But now I really enjoy the fact that I know more than 20 programming languages. I know there is a solution in Elixir that can fix this concurrency issue that JavaScript is struggling with. I know how to think about it. And if I give the right enough prompt, these agents can do fun stuff, right? So my advice from over the years has now changed. I'm like, read everything. Potentially you will have, this is agents are just a new type of code. They are going to be very helpful, and tools are going to be your augmentation. I think humans have this capability. So legs and arms are our tools. My father is a doctor. I asked him like, how does our brain learn things? And he's like, oh, so legs and your hands are tools, but your brain has the capability to create new tools. Like you can learn to drive a car using these four tools, right? And that capability is what they call it process. He has this entire diagram of C1, C2, C3, cognition levels, where you gather facts, you understand facts on C2, then you basically understand what to do or what not to do, like reasoning. And fourth one is planning. Like even a dog can reason, like if it should, sit on your bed or not, right? But they cannot plan like humans, right? I think we are going to have planning tools. LLMs are going to get better. And you, the human, is going to be the best planner there is. You will be augmented in the middle, right? Like computer human AI. You're the planner here. You need to know all of those tools to understand the knowledge. You may or may not use MCP, right? But you may like something from MCP that you can ask an agent to build for you, right? Or you can just use one MCP to do that. One thing, MCPs are cool. One thing I don't like about MCPs are, uh, do you know what is a CLI? You have a command line tool and it does exactly what you want. I think MCPs are poor man's CLIs. People who don't know how to build a CLI can use MCP to potentially automate something. The only problem I have with MCP is that it just consumes a lot of tokens, right?
Yep.
Just to do a simple thing. Like I was talking to Claude the other day about my Stripe account. It did one analysis and he was like, "You're done for the day. Come back 5 a.m." I'm like, "What?" Right? So I just only asked like, how many pro subscriptions of Chai happened in April and May, and it just consumed my entire day's worth of tokens. That was unexpected, right? I could have just built a CLI, one-shotted it, and done that, right? So each tool, knowledge of those tools will actually help you understand if that is something you need or not need. And someday that knowledge will actually really be helpful now. You have all heard that, learn something because it will be helpful someday. Now it can actually be helpful. Any knowledge of any technology can actually be helpful because you don't actually need to learn everything. You don't need to learn React, Vue, and Svelte and everything. But if you just know React, you can kind of build something with Vue because these agents and agentic systems and LLMs are getting really, really good at it, right? So yeah, MCPs, definitely try them out.
So as someone who's super interested in space and loves team open source, could you tell me a story about how you got your code running on another planet?
So that's a fun story. When I was young, I wanted to be an astronaut. And an astronaut who was absolutely afraid of heights. So I kind of settled for being I thought like I'll be a scientist, right? I'll invent things that would go in space. You know how kids are, right? And a lot of people say that, two of the hardest thing in computer science are naming things and cache invalidation. And I really like naming things because I wanted to be a scientist, right? So like I would invent stuff, right? I think all of that led to a really small little contribution in the NASA Ingenuity Mars helicopter mission. In fun fact, it was actually a UI code that they are running in the Ingenuity helicopter mission. Like, who knew being a web developer would actually, you can throw your code to Mars, right?
So cool.
So yeah, and that happened. I was like super excited when they told me like, this is the project where this code is going to be. And then later on, I got a little bit more into it, got to see the project a little bit more from, what that actually could have been, in an alternate universe, being an astronaut. And also got down to sat down with Satya Nadella and talk about it, like what it felt like. There were I think about 10,000 or so developers whose open source code actually made the Ingenuity helicopter mission possible. And for me, open source was how it happened. Right? It's not like, I got a job at NASA and did that, but, I eventually got to do the same thing. So it was super fun, super really excited that happened. I know my mother and father were like, "Oh, so you do important stuff." I'm like, "Oh, yeah." So yeah, fun story.
Love it. Yep. Encourage everyone to explore open source. You never know what happens.
Exactly.
Ahmad, this was a blast. Thank you so much for sharing your perspective. Chai looks awesome. Encourage everyone to try it. Before I let you go, is there anything you want the audience to know?
No, that was awesome. Thanks a lot for having me. Read the source code. Use your code for good.
Absolutely. All right. Have a great day.